Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
Hey guys, so what I wanted to talk about today was inspired by a short that I saw from a Buddhist monk. Can't remember the name, mainly because I've had a lot of trouble sleeping lately, and it's almost 7 a.m. I've been up since about 4. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about karma. Now, karma, what at least a lot of people in the West like to think about it is, if you do good things, then good things will happen to you. If you do bad things, then bad things will happen to you. The whole what goes around comes around, stuff like that. And if you've ever stepped into like Wicca or anything like that, they have like the threefold law, whatever you do comes back to you thrice over, and yada yada. But karma, as far as I've come to understand it through a lot of different research and watching a bunch of different people talk on it, specifically those from more of an Eastern mindset, is more along the lines of you reap what you sow. So, like karma, for example, is if you want a tree, you got to plant a seed. A tree is not going to manifest in a particular spot unless, random happenstance or whatever. But of course, that's not exactly what I'm trying to get at here, unless you plant a seed there. You know, so like for me, different examples I can think of are you're not gonna get that job unless you put in an application for it. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You're not going to be able to reach point B unless you leave from point A. You know, you're not going to be able to get a relationship unless you put effort into it. You are not going to be able to change something about you, whether it's a behavior, a belief, a certain kinds or set of actions, unless you start the ball rolling. It's almost like if you are in a conflict with someone and you don't want to bring it up, you don't want to start talking about that particular thing that's in between you and that other person, you want them to bring it up. You want someone else to talk about it. Or, that this is just a little bit aside or whatever, but take it with a grain of salt, I guess. People, particularly men, are not mind readers. So we're not going to be able to pick up on what you're putting down most of the time. You got to talk about it. You got to bring it up. You got to ask about it. So basically, okay, if we're talking this kind of stuff, let's talk manifestation, law of attraction, magic, stuff like that. If you want a particular result, you have to make some kind of change happen in order for that thing to start rolling in the right direction. A boulder at the top of a hill isn't going to get to the bottom of the hill unless somebody pushes it. So even setting the intention of going and doing spell work on something, or setting the intention that tomorrow at work I'm going to do this instead of that. I'm going to change this behavior into this one. And yeah, what might it work the first time that you do it? No. Not everybody says, I'm going to completely change my diet. And then overnight, boom, they're magically eating healthy. No pun intended. And whatnot. Forgive me for a second. Gotta hydrate a little. I don't know if you heard the soda popping, probably. Anyways, so we have to take those first steps in order to create something. So this can span from writing down what your ritual is going to look like, thinking about what time of day, what day of the week, what moon phase, what kind of materials you're going to need, what kind of spirit you're going to work with, what kind of energy you're going to raise, how you're going to raise that energy, all that kind of stuff goes into planning a ritual, of course, so you're pushing the boulder. It's getting closer to going down the hill, right? Or if along with spell work, okay, now that I did the spell work, I can't just sit and wait for that particular thing to change. Now, are there situations that you literally have no control over and you are hoping that they change? Which always relates back to one of my lady's favorite of the 50 Names of Marduk, the random moving factor one. Um, the name is Addu, Addu, where a situation is stuck and you're wondering about, you want it to change, but you can't see a way out. You can't or don't know how. So you call on Addu for a random moving factor to come in and change that situation, right? Now, is that a case that can happen where you have no way of figuring out what you can do about a particular situation, but you want to change it? Yeah, of course. But for the majority of situations, we need to plant that seed. If you want a tree to grow, you got to plant the seed. If you want a job, you got to fill out the application. If you want to change a habit, if you want to change your diet, you got to start making better choices. So, karma isn't exactly what goes around comes around, but it's more an idea of things will happen based on what you do. Things in the future will happen based on what you do now. So, for example, if I ignore maintenance on my car, what is the karma? No pun intended, of that, right? What is the karma of not taking care of my car? Well, my car is more likely to break down and have a lot of issues, right? If I ignore the check engine light, what is the karma from that? Well, I could have, let's see, a couple of problems that I've had with my car, or my last car, anyways, and a busted idle air control valve, or spark plug problem, or never had this, but very low oil, freezing your engine block, different things like that. Or, all right, ignoring the fact that my air conditioner in the current car that I have kind of felt a little off. What was the karma of that? It stopped working last summer when it was like 100. It felt like it was 100 outside for a week, and I was dying in every time that I got in the car. So, what's the karma from not taking care of your car? You're going to have car problems. What's the karma of not taking care of your health? I had this massive amount of tooth pain at one point, and I just thought, maybe I got a little something going on. I'm going to up on the flossing, I'm going to up on the brushing, and then it went away. But I was eating a kind bar at one point, which wasn't very kind to me, by the way, as you'll find out. Every pun intended on that one. Where I was eating a kind bar, and all of a sudden it felt like I had something stuck to my teeth. It felt really weird. It felt like I had massive amount, like this kind bar had caramel in it and whatever, and it felt like there was a bunch of it stuck to my teeth. So I go to the bathroom mirror, and I look. My freaking tooth is chipped, man. I lost like a quarter of one of my molars. Tooth number 14 if you're a dentist. Anyways, so I had to have a root canal. They shaved the whole thing down, and I got filling in there, and then I got a crown on it. So that the karma of not taking care of it when I had a massive amount of tooth pain, which was clearly an infection that was killing the nerve, was I had to get a root canal because the tooth died and then it just cracked on impact with a kind bar. I'm never eating kind bars ever again, right? So, you got to think to yourself, what kinds of seeds do you want to plant? What kind of fruit do you want to grow? What kinds of things do you want to create? You got to start at square one, because nothing happens just because we want it to happen. Now, you might say, people get dumb luck all the time. Look at how these people randomly meet these other people. They get them like connections and whatever, and then they're able to have successes and stuff. Okay, I hear your point, but think about it a little deeper. Those people put themselves out there. Those people put themselves in situations to talk to other people or to fall into those little random happenstance, circumstance things, right? Like, me and my lady, we met through a dating website, even though she lived 5 minutes down the street from me. If I hadn't planted that seed of looking on that dating website, right, and if she hadn't been there either planting that seed, we would have never connected. And then I don't know where I'd be because that was 11 years ago. So planted that seed, manifested something. You got to think of what you're trying to do, what magic you want to put in there, and what actions you want to take, because what kinds of seeds do you want to plant? What do you want to create? What do you want to manifest in your life, right? So maybe you got a little bit deeper of an understanding of karma now. You guys let me know what you think and what kinds of things you are trying to create and what kinds of seeds you are going to plant. All right, so I'm going to get off for now, but until next time, good hunting.